process today because we're going to use it to supersize and grow your business. Why? Because most people don't even consider emotional health and well-being as part of their planning for growing and building and supersizing their business. And that gives you an automatic competitive advantage. Well, what the heck is the SOAP framework? SOAP framework is a simple 4-step process we use to deal with any challenge that we're facing, or problem, or obstacle, or whatever you like to call them, roadblocks, setbacks, and we name things all different things. And step 2 of that process, yesterday we talked about our story. What is our current situation with respect to this emotional challenge our organization is facing? And I picked frustration because it's a personal one as well as a professional one. And then what do we want that to be like? Who wants to feel frustrated in their business ever? I don't. So I want to find ways to go from feeling frustrated on a daily basis to not feeling frustrated hardly ever about my business. Because if I'm putting positive energy into my business, I get positive things out. If I'm putting frustration, doubt, worry, fear into my business, I'm getting more challenges, more problems, more doubt, worry, and fear, or things to doubt, worry, and fear about out of my business. And that's the last thing we want as we're growing and building and supersizing. Because the size of our problems grow and the magnitude of our problems grow as our business grows. People don't really tell you that, but when you realize it and you look back on, oh, I remember when my biggest challenge was how to schedule. And now you look at your problems and they're multi-million-dollar problems. It's a very big difference. So I like to use what I call the 10-3-1 tool when it comes to brainstorming options to come up with, to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And I talk about it almost every month now. I found that I've fallen into this habit of talking about it every month because it's one of those foundational tools that we all want to have in our toolbox. And all we do is we brainstorm at least 10 ways that we can fill that gap. So I'm already up to 11. I guarantee by the end of the day, I'll have probably 20, 25, because I want to have a lot of choices. So if the first thing I try doesn't work, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, the world is over. I've got 24 other things to try. Why I push for 10 is it gets us over that all or nothing thinking, that dichotomy thinking that our brains naturally do. They say, if this doesn't happen, it's the end of the world. If that doesn't happen, my business is over. Things like that. And as humans, we're just wired to think that way. So this helps me and everybody else I've taught it to get over that little hump of thinking and seeing that there are actually multitudes, if not infinite, ways to solve any problem, any challenge that we're facing in our business and in our life. So I've already come up with a bunch. Like, for example, frustration for me is like success and failure. It's a definition, and we get to choose the definition of it. And I realized as I was doing my work yesterday about my current situation that I have a three thing. There's something with 3 going on with me. 3 years and I get bored in a position in corporate America. 3 years and I want to start a new business. 3 times I ask somebody to do something, or I look at something 3 times, and if it's not the way I think it should be, I get frustrated or I get upset. I get a little upset because I'm like, I don't understand why they don't have a sense of urgency, aren't getting the thing that I asked them to do done. Really, when I asked them the first time, but by the time I asked the 3rd time, there's a little switch in me that switches to frustration. And I'm like, that's the most ridiculous rule that I've set up for myself on the planet. So how about if I change that? And so we'll talk about that tomorrow as part of the A in the SOAP framework. But I don't know if that's what I'm going to pick because I haven't brainstormed all my options yet. That's just an example of how much flexibility we have in our lives and how many choices we have in our lives to change things. And we make it super duper complicated, but maybe it's just, instead of it being 3, I have to ask somebody 100 times to do something before I'm allowed to be or feel frustrated. That's a pretty good rule, right? All right, I'm getting off track. So what are we going to do today? We're going to brainstorm 10 ways to start to fill the gap between your current emotional situation in your organization and your desired one. And I think a lot of things are universal. We want our people to serve the rest of the people and our customers to the best of their ability. We want our sales to grow. We want our business to grow and thrive. We want to make the world a better place. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to fill the gap? Because it begins emotionally. We don't like to think our businesses are emotional entities, but they certainly are because they're made up of human beings. So if you need help with this, please ask. Otherwise, go out and make it an awesome day. Get your 10 things, and we'll narrow it down, and we'll jump into step 3 of the SOAP framework tomorrow. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.